dating and not having sex really going to work in this day and age? We talk about it as Christians that you're supposed to wait for marriage. Do you guys think it's really realistic? I've got people that tell me that's not realistic.
It's realistic if that's, I mean, one, your body has to be let me just talk about me first. My wife was a virgin when I met her. I wasn't. And she held out.
It's time for another Car Fittable Talks. And remember to go to YouTube, right? And somebody else has got to tell them all about how to find people on YouTube, because I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, our shows are on YouTube, so you can check it out. Vicki, Mack,
Hi, Kelly.
And check it out. Subscribe. We need your support. We're trying to do a lot of good things on today.
Yeah.
We got Canton Jones and his wife Ramona are coming to join us, and we're going to talk about sex and marriage.
You can't hear us, Kelly? Are we too low? Are we still low? Hello. Let us know if we're too low.
Take that off. Maybe it's covering the
speaker.
The speaker. So just take it down.
Yeah. Ooh. Can you hear us now?
I think so.
Hello.
The speaker's up there.
Oh, okay, so it's covering up the speaker. Oh, you love my jacket? Thank you. It's actually a little jumpsuit, Jazzy Bits. Hi, Walter Trickle. Jazzy Bits. Oh, good. So you can hear us now?
So we're going to be talking about sex and marriage.
Ooh. Yeah.
So you guys want to tell them what the conversation's going to be about?
Well, this is going to end up being a whole series, I think. There are so many questions that people have from our Christian standpoint, and just not only that, but you got a lot of people giving you advice. They're not even married, and they didn't stay married. If they were, they've been married to 2 or 3 or 4 different people. I'm not saying there's anything wrong if you're not staying married, but I think it's really weird when a person is, it can be weird when a person doesn't stay married or doesn't have a relationship, but they want to tell you how to have one. What's that mark right there? Some kind of a weird
stuff going up. Just keep
going. I see. I see. Hi, Van Brown. So anyway, I think we're going to make it a whole series.
We'll see. We'll start today,
we'll see how to
and depending on the questions.
Give us questions now, you guys. This is a good time to give us questions.
Yeah, give us questions.
We need some questions about some things, and it doesn't have to be just marriage. It can be dating, not dating, being on your own. I think a lot of people have questions, and many people want to have relationships and just need to know. They want some opinions. They want our opinion. Now, we're not professionals, except Claude and I have been married over 40 years now. So,
Canton and his wife been married 20 plus.
20 plus years. So it's 60 years between us, and we thought that might be a good way to come together.
And if we need to, we've got some 30 years, some 35 years. We got a bunch of folks that we need to bring in if we need to.
Right. McDowell just said that it's a mirror, and that's why some people don't last with us, and that's really very true. We've got someone said marriage was overrated. Intimacy to me is more important than sex. Okay. Hey.
Oh, okay.
What's up,
good
people?
Hey.
It's let's see. We got to get it a little.
So do you guys turn your You can't turn to the side. Okay.
We have a lens. We probably should have said that. We have a lens that's a little wide.
Yeah, because you guys are a little dark.
Yeah, I'm dark. But I mean, we're in this. I need to go run and get some light. Because you're in the light, but it's getting dark here.
Oh, you in the car? Okay.
I want to be like car fittable. I want to be in the car.
Car fittable, but I don't know if it's going to work.
And my wife was, so she said we're dark.
Hey, girl, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good.
Do you guys out there think that
I can go.
a little too dark for? Yeah, I think it's a little dark.
Let me get some light.
Okay.
Hold on. Talk. I'll get some light. Hold on.
In the meantime,
Ramona, slide over.
Ramona, let's talk to you.
Slide over. Just slide over.
Hey,
What's going on?
we've got a lot to talk about. Okay.
Oh yeah, we're ready too.
So you in the loop, right? You seen all the questions we've put together?
Yes, of course.
Okay, great.
So, oh gosh, I know. So in Atlanta, it's 7:00 and it's dark, huh?
Yeah, it's dark. Yeah.
It's all right. It's okay.
If you guys went in the house, do you think it would be take too long?
No, I think he's getting the light real quick. It's right here. It's not gonna take long.
Right, so we'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to mention that you and your husband are both artists, and Ramona. Now, people don't get to hear Ramona often, unfortunately. And Ramona, you are fabulous. You're a jazz singer.
Man, I appreciate that. Oh man, coming from you, that's awesome.
Oh, girl, please. But that voice, you can tell in that voice that things are happening in there. How are the kids?
The kids are good. I have a 16-year-old, 12, 8, and 6. So that's why I was late. I wanted to make sure everybody was fed. So they're not trying to get in the car and get on the show with us. I'm hungry, mama, and all that stuff. So
Because they will. That's part of it. But today, I think you want to let people know we're not just talking about sex and marriage. We want to talk about dating.
Who talking about sex? Okay. Already?
Look at him late. Just late.
Want to talk about?
We'll cover all of those things. Whether we get to all of them today is
we
a
won't.
different issue. We think
we're going to end up
we'll just address as we go along because we'll just talk them through and then move on to the next subject.
Well, I mean, Kat and I, we've been talking about that we should probably have a whole do a whole series on this. So I think that's what we really want to do. But let's go on and get on with our first question. Let's see. And if you guys have questions, please let us know. The first.
Is that better? Is the light better, or you need more?
Oh,
you guys got sexy mood, like.
Yeah. Hey, we're trying to get in the atmosphere, get it right.
Right.
Hey, I'm not trying to give y'all any of my cheat sheet. Like I'm trying to keep all my secrets. Y'all 40 years in, right? Like I was trying to ask her how long have you guys been married?
Yeah, we've been married over 40 years.
Yeah.
Over 40 years. Okay.
You need to move in a little bit more. There you go.
41 in November.
Yeah, 41 years in November.
41 years in November. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, go to your first question. I guess I got to do this off the cuff. Like I was trying to sit it in the car. I want that lens. That whatever you have, I want that lens. I want whatever you have. But right now we're gonna make it work. This reminds me of college. How we used to be in college. She's trying to climb all over us.
That's working. Well,
all right, cool.
We should ask each other questions, and people are going to ask us questions from the audience.
Okay.
So, I mean, do you want to start? You're good at being provocative and everything. So,
I mean, this time you start. You start this time. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think is dating and not having sex really going to work in this day and age? We talk about it as Christians that you're supposed to wait for marriage. Do you guys think it's really realistic? I've got people that tell me that's not realistic.
It's realistic if that's, I mean, one, your body has to be let me just talk about me first. My wife was a virgin when I met her. I wasn't. And she held out, and and so she can speak more about this holding out than me. I lost my virginity at a church convention. Yep.
Like so
and
many.
So yeah, like so many, I guess.
Listen, those overnight things, that's why I wasn't allowed to go. When they
You
lock
weren't allowed to go to church conventions
or those lock-ins. I wasn't allowed.
You know what? I'll tell you a really honest, now we're getting really honest. I used to go to, especially like the GMWA conventions, and I had some of my friends, some were gay, some were all kinds of different things, and they told me, Vicki, do not have your children running around and not knowing where they are and going all night places and stuff like that, because we were exposed sometimes. This is any convention, so it wouldn't just be GMW. It could be any convention. The kids get around and they're running loose, and people learned a lot of things that they wish they hadn't learned very early. And so my kids got to go to the conference, but they had to stay with us.
Oh, all right. Y'all got to do a conference with mama and daddy. How cool was that? I mean, I'm sure it was, because my mom was really cool. We had food fights and we did a lot of things. She kept us, it was a lot of fun for us. But dating and not having sex is I would say, one, we've been married for a long time. So trying to think back, most people have expectations when they're dating, to try everything out to see if you like it. And there's a little bit, there's less trust in the word, there's less trust in what's going on. It's just less, it's more, hey man, we're gonna do this, let's live in together. There are people that would rather have babies from a person than get married to them. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
I don't understand. I'm trying to understand that, because there's,
Right.
You're trying to understand.
Well, you always have a way out. There's no commitment. So if you're not married at any point, whether you have 10 kids or whatever, you can walk away.
You can walk away.
Because there's no paperwork to be filed. There's nothing that needs to happen. And I think this is just a commitment issue.
Yeah. And so, but there are people that can still, date and save themselves. That's still possible. Of course, if you, you avoid a lot of emotional drama, maybe STDs, and you might be the safest person ever, but there's still some spiritual ramifications for having sex before marriage. That it's just true. And you may say, that's not you. You're more mature. You might want to do it, try it out, whatever. Some people, you're addicted to it, and you got to have it. You've been having sex, and you may have even been married and have gotten a divorce, and your body, you just been used to having sex for so long, and you're now dating, and so I still say, you want to get in the presence of God and do what He tell you to do, and kind of follow what God is telling you, and because that's a tough ask for a person that is used to having sex, or a person that is sexually. I don't think there's a such thing as being sexually addictive, because we are sexual beings.
Right.
The Bible says, "Be fruitful and multiply." That was our first directive. Before "Thou shalt not kill," before "Thou shalt not steal," there was "Be fruitful and multiply and have dominion." That pretty much says y'all go have sex and run the animals. You know what I'm saying? And so we're sexual beings, and so to try to tell people to die that down is very difficult when that's built in your nature. Right. Sex is the only thing it seems like that you can do that can be right and wrong with the same action. You can have sex inside of wedlock and it not be outside. Inside of wedlock and it be right, outside of wedlock and it be wrong. It can be the same person, y'all just married or not. So it's you got to get in the presence of God when it comes to that. I feel like too, once you've gotten past the place of a lot of people say, I slipped into it. You can't slip into that. That's a great plan. You already know when she want it, he want it. When y'all meet up, you already know what it is. And so,
well, let me ask a question. Because culturally, if looking from a historical, cultural context, when there are no commitments to marriage, what does that do to the society, the fabric, what is that to raising up kids? And, how do you bring up kids?
Oh yeah, definitely. You are
There's
at
other
you.
factors besides our own personal factors, and to say that, I'm just throwing this out, to say that you can't culturally, that was the case for centuries. It was like, hey, the woman is a virgin, man, even the man sometimes too. So it was never to say that we're sexual beings, and just for discussion. Historically, hasn't been that.
Yeah, but historically, people got married earlier.
Well, that's what there are
earlier.
ways to do that, to address the issue, is early marriage. So part of the thing is, and let me just inject that. I wasn't a virgin when I got married, but Vicki and I didn't have sex
before we got married. But we both had sex previously. But by the time I met him, I was like, I'm over it. It's not working. I don't want anybody touching me.
She wasn't over
nothing.
She wasn't over sex. Look,
I didn't say I was over sex.
You over sex.
I was over sex before marriage.
Yeah.
Have any with you unless you put a ring on it. I was tired of this whole I love you. The whole concept wasn't working for me. I went to college, UCLA, and everybody was having sex, and so I felt, I'm in college now. Maybe I should too. And it was
right.
It wasn't even the same thing as what sex was in marriage, because it was built on a stronger foundation. But I've wondered also, I talk to women all the time who say, I'm going to lose this man if I don't have sex with him.
Yeah.
Right.
What do I do? And, sometimes I just feel so bad for the person. But I'm like, if it's predicated on you got to have sex just to be with them, he's probably not going to stay with you anyway.
He's not. No.
Right. Well, again, like for me, was I got saved, really as an adult. So I'm doing a lot of stuff, and it was after I got saved that I made the commitment to be celibate. So so that's what drove my sexual behavior at that time.
Oh, I want to say something really quickly. This is an adult conversation, so I want to just let everybody know this is probably not the best time to have your children in the room. So I do.
Why not? Like, they need to know.
Well, I guess it depends on the parent and the child.
Yeah. Hey, you don't want to know what if you think like that, Auntie. You don't want to know what I tell my kids.
Well, okay, you have a good point, because my parents told me a lot too. But some people want to know ahead of time what we're dealing with. You're right.
Yeah, we're talking about sex and relationships. You said something as far as what sex does before marriage. It almost ruined us. To be honest with you, it almost ruined us. Statistically, it is better. 2 is better than 1 in raising a child. I know a lot of people feel like that he's a deadbeat, or the kids don't need to be around her, or whatever. But 2 is better than 1. That is the design of God. Take it up with him. And if you look at the numbers, the success rate of the child, when you look at different areas, from being incarcerated, teenage pregnancy, high school dropout rate, all of those numbers drastically change when you see 2 parents versus 1 parent. The other thing is, you can go to a neighborhood and you can see I don't want to say fatherless neighborhood, but a neighborhood with no husbands. And so because a husband is another spiritual aspect than being a good father. And so when you can go into some hoods, some houses, it's 11 people in that house. You got grandma, granddaddy, you got uncles, you got aunties, but you got boyfriend, girlfriend, kids, no husband, no wife. And so the spiritual aspect, the favor that is obtained, the Bible says when you find the wife, you find the good thing and obtain favor. The favor on that house is missing because we got everything except the covenant. And so that's kind of, those are numbers, and like it's proven
They
by
don't lie.
numbers and not just, yeah. But when it comes to relationships, sometimes, man, it's hard. You don't know if she the one, and you do want to try things out, but that's just not God's way. You know what I'm saying? And so, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say,
I
let's
thought you
talk
were gonna
about
ask.
that a little bit, though. Claude always talks about when you're dating, that's the time for your interview, to really interview that person. And I think that's what's missing. We go so much.
But when we do job interviews, a job interview is the biggest lie ever. You lie and lie and lie and lie to get that job, and a man can lie and lie and lie to get that booty. I mean, you know how it is. That's the reality.
Well, let me just speak. The part of the issue is, and we touched on it, is commitment. It's up to if the man is makes the commitment. We talk about marriage, early marriage. Men were encouraged to commit early, and so now a man is not. There's no societal pressure to have a man commit to marriage, and you can commit anytime you want. There's no social stigma for being a bachelor. There's none of that. In fact, it might be socially good to be a player. So what, the roles and how society looks upon a single man it hasn't changed. And in our community, it's okay not to be committed. And so it makes it very difficult for women in that environment. How do you deal with it?
I think it's changing. I think it's changing too, especially with, you look at LeBron, he's faithful to his wife. You have, Jay-Z and Beyonce were willing to work it out. So I think it's changing. I don't think people want to be single anymore. They don't want that bachelor life. They want to have a commitment, and they want to find that woman, that man to be with. So I'm actually thankful to see something out there where people our age, people younger than us can see, these people are committed to each other. Even some rappers are now, I'm married, I'm staying together, and I think that's amazing. Now, it may be a little, skewed, and some things are happening, but it's still good to be able to see that. Right.
So in relationship, well, go ahead, say what you say, because I'm about to ask a real question. So go ahead, say what you was about to say.
I'm just gonna comment on that because I do agree. I just think the other side of it, being single, is that because they're looking at this partnership, there's this thing about having a power couple, and so it puts this thing of men having to be at this financial place before they even want to commit to you or have that kind of relationship, because in their mind it's almost like you arrive to like Jay-Z or LeBron, status or that kind of thing. And so there's this weird like gray area in the meantime. But
nobody wants to make the
nobody
commitment.
wants to commit.
You are absolutely right, because they don't see how she was there in the beginning, LeBron's wife. They don't see the groundwork. Just like with Adam and Eve, they were together this entire time, but nobody wants to talk about what day one.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to, day one, or even the cleaving process.
Right.
When do you start asking those serious questions? I know we were having some talk earlier today, and so you're going out on this date with this person. The first date, you just want to see if you want to have a good time. Wherever you go, you want to have a good time. It's the first time. Everything is just you talking in your sexiest voice, and you got your cutest laugh, and you wear your most uncomfortable shoes so you can look the cutest. And then on the next probably 5 dates later, you in flats. You know what I'm saying? Like all the fake stuff dies off over time. So when do we start asking questions, the serious questions? Do you have mental problems? Have you, you're a man? Have you ever been with another man? Were
Wow.
you born a man, or were you
Wow.
born a woman?
Yeah.
So because
Yeah.
see, y'all, dating nowadays
It's totally different.
Yeah.
is like so. And then when do you? I want to ask you guys, when do you start asking those questions that might make the person uncomfortable? It might even drive them away because you asked
Yeah.
that. But do
In
you
and
not
out.
do you not
I-
ask?
Oh,
Can I?
let me. I was asking, but you want to answer
Yeah,
first?
because I'm
You do the
dating,
processing.
so I
You dating?
well, I'm talking and figuring things out.
I mean, are you? Wait. Are you
It's not-
officially dating, or are
Not
y'all
as-
just talk?
She's in the dirty.
I'm in the
Phase.
shifting conversation, seeing who, because
At least she's trying to talk to some people now.
that's not true. Yeah,
So you're not dating.
no, I'm not officially, but I'm not. I'm
Does he think y'all dating?
no. But to answer your question,
I
I
don't think she's
answer.
dating.
You guys are interrupting. I ask these questions immediately, a lot of the time, which does not allow me to get to a dating period. I'm not going out to coffee or wasting my personal time if I don't get some of those questions answered. So even with like a guy that I was talking to now, it wasn't clear what type of believer he was. And so I had to just get that out the way just so I could see if it was going to even go in that direction. And so for me, a lot of things stop in that beginning phase because I can't waste my time because I'll like you and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's fun and stuff like that. But there's some non-negotiables that I just have. And so I think you need to get that out on some phone calls.
But sometimes I agree partially.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you might be thrown away because everything good is gonna come with patience. I don't care if he answers every question correctly in the perfect man. Once y'all get into a place of spending time together, so okay, my wife.
It's not an interview, so I just want to be clear. These aren't like it's not like, are you a believer? Did you ask questions in like, oh, okay, so as you're trying to get to know that person, and you might end up having like this last time I had a really fun just back and forth debate on Christianity, spirituality, and it went into some other things where I was like, I really like this person. I don't know where it could go, but I think we both were like, oh, I like this person as this person, instead of it being I think it would be a little crazy to go right and say like, do you have mental issues? Do you have? But there's ways you can ask those things before I waste my time to say like, I'm gonna date. This is
so how would you even know if you don't date or go out or talk to them or get them in a comfortable space?
Phone calls. I do a lot of phone calls.
Talking by phone.
I'm talking by phone.
But I think sometimes we as women can be too hard. And in a culture right now where you don't have to be with the person, you don't have to go out and date. You can just block them, or you can just stop talking to them. And I think people ghost on them, and I think people lose out in that process.
But I guess I was classified, even though I graduated from college.
Yeah.
To most women, probably I would have been classified as a deadbeat or a thug or what have you, because she had the car, I didn't. I had the studio, I put everything in it, but I ain't have no car. I stayed at her apartment. Me and the guy that was sharing our apartment, we got into it, and so I was staying with her, driving in her car. She had the job. Now she felt like I was the one. And she told me later on that God said that I'm the one, but I'm not ready yet. And my whole lifestyle showed that I wasn't ready, but she stuck with me, and and we'll be celebrating 20 years of marriage in 2 weeks. And so, all of the questions, I I would have failed the interview miserably.
But see, I'm not talking about like a resume. I'm not talking about like, oh, you have to have this. I just think some things I need to know because I bond quickly. So I just need to let it be known automatically. We're probably not gonna have sex. Are you okay with that? These are some things that have to just. So
she said probably.
Well, because that's just real.
It may change.
It might change.
We praying, Granny.
Well, let me just finish. It's my hope to be abstinent. That's what I want to do. I've been in positions where I've said, and I made that clear, that that's not what I wanted to do. But then we got into the relationship, and it was a fight, and it didn't go as I wanted it to be. So I just want to make the difference between, like, there's no checklist where you have to have this all together. I just think there's some things for me that I just need to have clear, because I don't want to do a captain spiritual save somebody kind of thing, because I'm already such a giving, nurturing person. So there's some boundaries and some things that I'm just trying to establish so that I can do, so we can just date properly.
Well, let me ask you a question, like Ramona. At the time, you saw things in Canton, and you said that was fine. But were there things that if you had seen would have been a problem? I'm not talking about the fact that he wasn't, that he was staying at your party, didn't have a car. I mean, you saw some things in him, but would there have been some things, if you did see, would have been a problem?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that. Oh, okay.
What's the best way to say this? Well, he was a very aggressive person, and so I used to be this meek and very shy and very very introverted person. Like this conversation would be so hard to pull out of me even back then. So with him being this aggressive person, he knew what he wanted to do. He knew how he wanted to do it. He knew when it was going to happen. And so that's what attracted me. But at the same time, it kind of, at the pace he was going, it hurt my feelings a lot. I got really sensitive. And so if I didn't stick with it, if I didn't just, I'm going to learn how to adapt, or we're going to work this thing out, or, I didn't come into the relationship saying I'm going to change him, basically. I didn't say, all of these things that I secretly didn't like. I didn't say, well, I'm going to change that. I'm going to work with him. I'm going to, if I feel like this is my future, then I'm willing to, work with those attributes, those characteristics that I may not, like.
Right.
Well, that answered your question.
No, that did, because, just two comments, and Vicki has something. Because, I say not every red flag is a red flag.
Right. That's good.
Sometimes we want protection from the other perfect person. We ain't perfect ourselves.
Right. And, the red flags, they're not red flags. In other words, a go, no go. But the other thing is, just a comment, and we move on. One of the things, when I met Vicki, she was attractive, lovely, and all these things. But one of the things that made me decide, really took me over the hurdle, because it was, to say, hey, I want to marry her. And you say, why? I married her because I knew I had issues in relationships. And then I felt that she would work hard for the relationship. And so that was a major factor in why I married her. And it panned out in a lot of ways in our marriage. That, she worked for the marriage. I mean, I worked for the marriage too, but I think, but that was important to me. I wanted someone that would work for it, and I could see that besides all the other good things about it. But that was a key factor for me going in our marriage.
I think you started something that I've never really heard out of any kind of relationship talk. And what was the determining factor for you to decide to marry her. I've never heard that, and I'm thinking back about what was really made my wife uh, more attractive than anybody is that
Mhm.
she immediately started helping me. She
Mm.
started
Okay.
she started helping me, like and she wanted to help and not just be the girl sitting on the couch. You know, we did the studio thing, so you already know that world. And so she hated coming in there, but when she did come in there, she was helping, cleaning, you know, trying to figure out how to help. And I think that that was the thing that I loved the most about my wife, that she, you know, that she, of course, she was beautiful and all that
Mhm.
stuff. But the thing was that made her stick was, man, this girl gonna help me. She's gonna
Right.
help me.
Yeah.
Like when you know everything that I hate, she likes to figure out how to do. I hated washing dishes. My apartment was a mess when I was living in my apartment by myself, and she came in and cleaned it up without me asking. She just was a natural glove for me to she
Mhm.
filled in everything that I was missing, and I was like, that's my wife, you know.
Amen.
And
Amen.
so now, based off of that,
Go girl.
I had this thing that I wanted to, you know, to have her at a you know, I wanted to, I guess when I made that decision, I wanted to have her get married at a certain status. I did want to make the money. I did want to be, and then I had to realize that we have to come in at the bottom
Mhm.
to cleave, to come up together,
Yeah.
and not
Mhm.
necessarily she meet me at the top.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
Amen.
that's why a lot of people have problems cleaving, because you already make 60,000
Already
yourself,
arrived. Yeah.
and he's already making money himself, and you're expendable.
Right.
It's like if I lose you tomorrow, I
Yeah.
survive, baby.
What do
I
I
don't
need
need you
him
for nothing.
for? What do
And
I need him?
so that's how most people are getting married. They get married as two hoes. Like there's not nowhere for me to get in to help you.
Holes.
Yeah,
Whatever.
holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, two
Whatever.
holes. I'm sorry, I ain't say yeah.
Holes.
I'm
I
not, yeah,
see what
holes.
you're saying.
Two holes.
Um,
Two whole
but,
people, you know, it's hard to
but,
come together to become one. Part of marriage is becoming one,
right.
and that's a process. You know that it doesn't happen just because you say I do. It's a process that happens, and when you can always feel that you can go off and do your own thing, then you know that's what you have to fight. You have to
When people
fight
say
that
I'm
to say,
okay all by myself, or what is
right.
that word people say? I'm good all by
Uh,
myself. It's
man, my
Well,
wife
that's
got,
why.
she handled the books. She handled a lot. So if she leave me, I'm done. But,
That's
but
what
it's
happened.
all, but it's on purpose. I mean, we've been together for so long. We're mangled. To cleave means
Exactly.
that you don't know where she ends and I begin. Like we're mangled. Everything is mixed. You know, you know, and so most times that people come into marriage, they come in. You can tell whose side of the room it is and whose side of it. And then we got two bank accounts, and I'm letting people do what they want to do. But if you're so separate, you're so expendable. It's like
Yeah.
I can change my code and I can have my whole life by myself
Like,
tomorrow
Right.
because I
right.
got all my own passwords, I got my own everything. You don't check my nothing, you know. And so when I
We
start,
describe ourselves as like, two different color Play-Doh. You put it together, it's so hard to pull red and blue apart.
it's
Like,
mangled,
yeah.
Right. I
or
like
when you
that.
And
mix,
when you do pull it apart, it's just bits of that and bits of that and
I'm
bits.
still in there.
So
Yep.
it's
Yeah,
broken.
that's interesting.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's a good
but
one.
you know, it's a process, and that's why people need to understand. It's a process that you have to commit to come together, and that's part of cleaving. He says you cleave from one thing
Well,
to
what does
join
cleave?
another
What
thing.
does cleave mean
To,
for people that don't may not have heard that term before? What happened to that sunlight all of a sudden?
You're so well. The first time you see it, what Adam says, for this cause, I leave my mother and my father and cleave to my wife. You know, to become one with my wife. I come from another situation, and to become one with my wife, and so that we leave one government to create our own government. We leave one kingdom to create our own kingdom. We leave one state of values and all that type of stuff, and we come and we decide what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? We like to say that we have our own government. We
Right.
we
So
we
did Claude.
yeah,
Yeah.
we don't, don't. One of my things, and she really never did it, was for somebody to come to me and say, well, so and so, they in their relationship, in their marriage, they do this. Why not? Please don't bring that,
Don't
And
bring
so, even
relationship.
if she had a suggestion from somebody else, just make it seem like it was yours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that
Right.
we can have a conversation with us and nobody else. We didn't bring our moms, our dads, our cousins, brothers, sisters. Nobody got in the middle of the Cleveland process.
If we had an argument, nobody ever knew.
Yep.
Like, if we
Right.
could have an argument in the car right now and get out the car and go see our parents, they would never know.
They would never know.
Because
Right.
we kept all of that.
And
within our
that
marriage.
and that was a rule.
Yeah.
That was a rule that we made
Right.
up, and we stuck to our rules. Like, look, man, let's not do this, and we wrote certain things down sometimes, and sometimes, hey, don't do me like this. And me, I didn't want to tell her when I was upset or when certain things hurt my feelings, and I had to really learn how, because we was taught, when you get, as a kid, they tell you, boy, you shut up. You mad, you crying, shut up, stop that crying. That's how we grew up.
Mhm.
And then and so we learn how not to show pain. That's why a lot of brothers don't show pain. They're hurting, but they're bleeding on the inside, And
Right.
so some of the first times when I had to say, man, hey, that hurt my feelings, man. You hurt me, and
If Claude comes to me like that, everything
oh,
stops to correct that.
Right.
Because he probably he's not going to just come out every day and say that. When Claude says, you really hurt me, the world has to shut down to take
Right.
care of that.
That's good. That's good.
Because I do not want my husband running around hurt from me. Most of the time. let me be honest. Sometimes it may take me a few, but no, if he says those words, expresses that to me, it's got to stop. I've got to stop and deal with it a different kind of way. But I wanted to, the real truth of what's going on in the world today is people come with children. They come with baggage. And now they come with so many sexual identity questions that when Claude and I came up, we didn't even think about. For example, there are questions I would ask now that I wouldn't have asked before. Like, I would ask him if he had sex with a man. I would ask him,
I wouldn't.
what is his sexual identity? I really would want to know that. Especially in the church. There are a lot of people that haven't worked that out or have been so messed up or who are gay or 50 zillion other things and they know it, but they're still feeling pressure to get into a marriage. And I think these are things we need to start talking about now. I know some people don't want to talk about, and then you've got pastors and wives. Clyde and I counseled some pastors. They hadn't had sex in 8-10 years.
Oh, God.
Or
they had not had sex with their wives.
that's correct.
Chances
Some
are
of these
I don't know.
pastors and people and people in leadership, their sexual relationships are so screwed up, and so that's why.
Auntie, that joker having sex with somebody.
He's having
Something.
sex with somebody.
My wife said, or something.
Somebody
Something right.
What's another thing that's that can be thrown in there, like powerful women who are very popular. Is it more difficult for a powerful, more successful woman to get married? even Uncle Claude, like when Auntie was doing, she's still doing her thing, but she was doing her thing back in Kirk's day, and all the guys at the studio, and she's hanging at the studio. Are you at the studio, and she's there alone or with somebody or bodyguard,
No, I
or how
wasn't.
did you feel? How did you feel? Because I know how my wife felt at times, and I was like, well, you need to come up here, or spend time with me, or whatever, just sit in, because there are women here, or I used to, at times when I felt like our relationship was insecure, I would love to just describe what's going on in the room so that it can kind of make her feel a little better. Like, it's here, these people are here, this girl is here, this,
Yeah,
what
and
I'm
that
saying?
got real old, so I decided to learn how to mix and master
She
and
did.
record myself, so I can go ahead and just be there. So we ain't got to do all
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
very smart.
that's smart.
Very
That's smart.
smart.
You know,
Yeah.
for you just answer your question. Part of our role evolved because when we first got married, I was the software engineer. I was doing everything, and then she wanted to do this. She started doing radio promotions, and then supported her in that, and then that evolved into an opportunity to start a label. I said, well, sure, go ahead. The label blew up.
Label blew up. I had this
And
little
so-
guy named Kirk Franklin.
It blew up.
Right.
So at some point, I had to decide, and I decided that, okay, I'm going to quit my job and go into this situation. So it
Because
wasn't.
I needed help.
It
It
wasn't.
wasn't for
Let
him.
me finish saying my side. See.
Okay, babe.
Y'all so awesome. Y'all awesome, man. I love it.
But I'm gonna say this. For even though we it's something that we've evolved into, an area of great contention for a good part of our marriage was roles. And her perceiving that I'm trying to take over certain roles that she didn't think I should have, and me saying, "Wait a minute, this is a role I need to have." So part of it was, and where we settled down into, she's the businesswoman. I said, "Fine, I submit to you in that area because that's what you do. But at home in this situation, you need to submit to me in this area." And so, coming to that understanding, where we both were comfortable with roles, because it would flip. She'd come home and think she was still running gospel centric.
Oh,
Gospel centric.
And it worked.
say, Claude, I need them records mixed right now. No, I got you.
Sometimes I really
And
did.
sometimes I go in the gospel centric and they need to be said, yeah, wait a minute, this ain't home. It flips both ways. And so that was an area that we really
It was
worked
difficult.
through and got through. And especially when we found out, we found out that the percentage of couples who are in business together who divorce
Oh, wow.
was so high that we said, wow, this really was a wake-up call, because we're a couple in business together, and in particular in our situation where I'm the man and she's the woman, and it's her business that's getting all the spotlight and doing all the stuff. And so part of it is it wasn't difficult for me, let me say that, to really submit and understand that. It was really coming at home and making sure that the home was a situation where I felt comfortable, that was cool. And it made it easier, a lot easier, that at the work environment that I was comfortable doing whatever the decision. And some of the things, I wasn't really involved in a lot of, I was involved in major decisions in the sense that I just said, well, I think we can fund that.
Yeah. We had him where he was where he was
You know what I'm saying?
money
So it was that
contracts.
kind. I can fund that.
Same
It
thing
wasn't,
like you, Ramona. That part of it.
we can fund that. So, but the what and what we're trying to do. A lot of, I wasn't involved in a lot of that, and only only in when we were trying to structure the business in a certain way for other reasons, but not necessarily for A&R music, but for business reasons. We have to structure the business a certain way. I was involved in that structuring. She said, "Oh, you do that." Right. And so we structured it, and the joint ventures that we would go into. I was involved in all that stuff. But in terms of, putting out the records and what we were doing, that's what she did.
But I had to learn to soften myself. I mean, I had to really be intentional in making him understand that it's all about you first. If I had to ever make a choice between my business and you, I'm going to choose you.
Right.
I had to make sure Clyde understood that at all times, and I had to make sure he understood how much I respected him as a man and as a head of a household. I had to be so intentional about it. And I remember, this is just a funny example. I was getting my hair done, and, I had a natural hair, and she's putting these natural products in my head. And I went home at night, and I was sleeping next to Clyde, and he says, "Oh, this is awful. I don't like the way this smells." I'm like, "Well, we got to take care of this." So I went back to the hair salon, and the women in there all said, "Well, I don't care if he likes it or not. This is my hair." And I said, "That's why you're alone, and I'm not."
Wow.
I sleep
Wow.
with him.
Wow.
How in the world am I wanting to sleep with him and make him not even want to be around me? I'm one of these chicks who sprays the bed with perfume and stuff. I don't want this man to be repulsed.
She do that too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had to keep my position, and that's why I like the woman, I can't remember her name right now, who retired her husband. Somebody will tell us. Miss Tabitha, is that you can be the boss out there, and I can be strong and talk hard, but when I'm with him, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And I prop him up all day, and people say, "Oh, that's phony." I'm like, you know what? Whatever you want to think it is, he likes it.
Yeah.
He likes it. It makes him feel good. I'm not trying to make you feel good. And so Tabitha Brown, thank you, Frank. I had to make sure that I prop him up a lot. It's important to me to do that. And so as a woman, if you're a woman in business, you gotta soften yourself for that man. Men want to be respected.
Yeah.
They want to know that wherever they are, it's about them. They're strong and they're able to take it. If you make him feel like he's behind, that's why Claude comes out and sometimes he's very quiet. But trust and believe, he's the head and running the household. He allows me to do what I do.
Yeah.
Just like I allow him to do the stuff he does. And I know a lot of women that tell me, "I wouldn't do that," or why do you say you wouldn't wear this, you wouldn't do that? It's about you and what you like. And it's like, that's not what a real relationship is
You're
about.
not one then.
Right.
Yeah,
It's about oneness. It's about oneness. So, okay, if we're one, we try to flow together. I could do my own thing. Yeah, I could do my own thing, but that doesn't profit or bring together the oneness that makes us, that's really enjoyable and really edifying, and what marriage at the end of the day is really all about, is when you can flow as one. And
so do y'all spend like me and Ramona probably for the last 20 years have spent our, how you say you want to spend your life with somebody, but it's not literally like, you got to go to work, you got to drop the kids out 8 to 5, you're at work, then you come and then you got some stuff that you do. You got to go out with the girls, you got to go out with the guys, y'all might travel, go different places, you need some alone time. So you're not spending your literal life, but I feel like me and Ramona, we're spending our literal life, like We spend
Yeah.
all day together. We do our business together. You know, we
Yeah,
go we go out and eat together. Everything that we do is together. Nothing's really separate. We had 2 or 3 gigs this weekend. We got two or three this weekend. She's gonna be at all of them, and
Yeah.
and we're spending our literal lives together. Is that possible? Like, do you feel like at one point, okay, let me get some time together? Have you taken separate vacations just to be alone? Or, I mean, I know after an
No.
argument, you might go out and drive, but I'm talking about in the
Need time.
norms of your day, do you need time away to just do you?
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
the thing is, we
Yes.
literally do everything together. So, you know, sometimes, you know, even if we gotta go run an errand, I go run errands just to do my.
Get away from me.
We literally do everything
We
together.
do a lot.
But it's really, you know, like I would say, the first 10 years of our marriage, that wasn't the case. I mean, I'd go to work and she was at home. After we came together and gospel centric and be right, we literally began spending all of our time together. I mean, vacations, you name it, we were always together.
But
So we never, we never took. Well, we didn't take separate vacations. I might go visit some family members because she didn't want to go to Detroit or something. I'd go visit, but that's not the reason. But
he goes to visit his sister in Hawaii sometimes.
But we did that, but that was like a family thing. I would go right. But so it's things like that I would
and
do.
conventions, a lot of conventions, especially early on, I would go by myself. Early on in the marriage, I would take my dad with me. Because as a woman, Claude kind of had a rule too about business for women. I know some people may look down and think this is crazy, but I see, for example, we had a relationship with R. Kelly. And I'm going to put a lot of this in my book because Kirk was, when we decided that Trinity 5-7 was going to be produced by R. Kelly, Claude had a rule. They can't go. And we didn't know, none of this stuff that all came out had come out yet. But Claude had a rule, especially with women, but it could be men too. But a group, especially of women, could not go to be produced by R. Kelly without me or Monica Bacon or somebody like that being there. Claude had made that rule, and I think it was a very good rule.
Yeah.
Just, for example, he would start producing at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So it was like, Claude was like, that's fine, but somebody's going to be there with them. They ain't going to be there by themselves. And now, I think that was the Lord told him that.
Yeah.
Now, and we were there, actually, like I said, I have a whole book I'm doing and some other stuff. But we were there when Sparkle and her niece were there at the studio. I was there. Yeah, so there's a whole lot to that I'll have to get into later. But I'm so glad that there were certain rules and things that we did. In the beginning, I did not go to conferences and stuff that much by myself. My father went with me. First of all, to do some of the heavy lifting and just to be there with me. Now that I'm older and more mature, I can go places by myself if I want to. But I had a situation one time where, you make friends with people in the music industry, and I came to Nashville for something, and one of the radio stations, he was, hi, how are you doing? He was in my room. I opened up the door, and the man was in my room.
What?
And I was so freaked out and upset. What's the name of the quartet? I can't think of their name now. I was crying. I'm supposed to be big businesswoman, but I was like, this man is in my room. A quartet and one other group we had went and had a talk with him. And I never had a problem, or neither did I see that person again. But because there's so many weird things that can go on out there on the road, You can say you trust your husband and you trust your wife all day, but I think there are things that should be put in place
Yeah. Yeah.
to help cure the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Claude put those rules, like in Canton Spirituals. How did you know that, Major?
Major in the Holy Spirit.
It was the Canton Spirituals.
Oh, wow.
They made up and took care of that situation for me.
Wow.
He said, kidding.
No, I wasn't. No, that's really the truth.
Wow.
Because that man was in my room.
Because at that time, I was I didn't travel a lot then. Because we had kids, I was taking care of the kids. Vicki traveled, she was doing all this stuff. So it was a good thing, which she suggested that her father could go with her.
Yeah.
I think maybe might have been after that situation. And so that's when her father started traveling with her. So we just said, hey, we're paying you, you go.
Yeah, my dad was paid. We paid him to help me do logistics and pick up people late at night in the van and things like that. Those were kind of things that people can say, you're a woman, you can do anything.
Right.
Yes. But in a relationship and a Christian relationship, but I think this is any relationship, you need to put things in place and have good understandings. Just like if Claude's going to be somewhere, like in ministry, I remember Claude was in ministry and that pastor would have my husband up there until 12 and 1 o'clock at night. And I called that pastor one day and told him, look, I am not wrapped that tight. You cannot keep my husband out that late like that, because he got a divorce and married somebody in the church. And those women were bringing food up. I said, I'll go to the church and I'll turn the whole place out.
Uncle Claude, they was up there 12 o'clock at night laying hands, man.
Right.
Tell her we're up here laying hands up here at night.
Women cooking and bringing food. The pastor ends up marrying one of them.
Wow.
Well, that was, you're right. So it was.
Yeah. And I'm not a jealous person either because of what Clyde and I do. But if I get in that zone, it's not good. Because I think my husband is fine, and don't put me in a position where I think some other. I know.
She hasn't had to do it because Nadia and I would step in.
Yeah, my daughters are worse than I am. Like, what do you want with my father? Why? Why are you calling us? I mean, it doesn't happen very often.
No, it's just, somebody might try to come over.
Lovey would do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's kind of like the way you explain cleaving is what we had to do, and that's how that's how you become one.
When do you cleave though? When do you think is a good time to cleave, Ken?
Of course, when you're husband and wife, that's the best time. Like you don't want to cleave before that, because then you got stuff left in there. Everybody change their mind. So I mean, you cleave when you get married, and cleaving is not just body; it's mind and spirit. And so I know, like your dad and your mom. Well, my wife, she could be sitting in the corner of the room, and I walk in. I hadn't seen her all day, and I know exactly what's wrong. Like we're connected spiritually. God gives me a download of what's wrong. I ask what's wrong. She might say nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I already know. I'm asking the question. I already know what's wrong because we're connected spiritually. At times, at conversations where we are sharing thoughts and ideas, we share in the mind. And then of course we got kids together, so we share in the body. And so a lot of people share in body, share in mind and intellect, but they don't cleave in the spirit realm. They can't never get on the same page spiritually, to whereas the Holy Spirit is kind of giving hints to man, he's upset for this, or you need to do this, or you need to kind of, before things blow up, you've already
Right.
had 2 or 3 warnings. You know, I know
Mhm.
I have. You know, man, before this
We do.
goes down this way, you need to go ahead and tell her that old girl is a second cousin before your daughter, before your wife stabs her. Tell her that you, and the Holy Spirit already tell me, man, that's my second cousin from
Because
back
I
then.
love the Lord, but I will pull out your hair. No, I'm very serious.
These
I just says, what is that song by Toby Nigway? Trust Jesus.
Yeah,
Try
try
Jesus.
Jesus, don't try me.
Because I do lay hands. And I mean,
Hey, you did make a song called Stomp. So, you know, I guess you talking about stomping somebody out.
I'm crazy that way. That's how I am about my man. I mean, I'm just.
And are you still after 40 years willing to go to blows now? Because I can see your daughter just reposition herself. You know.
It could have happened the other day.
could have been
Oh,
like
what?
at the McReynolds concert. Like it's not like
Y'all did Jonathan McReynolds concert last night. What happened last night?
No, that didn't happen. That's why I said correct that. And the Jonathan McReynolds concert was great. We saw Major there and just a whole bunch of people with Jonathan McReynolds and Molly Music.
Yeah, they killed in Atlanta too.
Electricity is such that it could happen if things got out of whack.
I'm not like
But Uncle Claude, you gotta feel good that the women in your life are willing to defend you and to keep the bond that y'all have together, your family together. They're willing to come to blows for that. That makes.
They're willing to fight that.
Say it again. Yeah, man, and I think I love.
Look, it's not. You know, I'm not complaining.
Well, I don't want anybody to start fighting or scratching up cars and stuff like that.
or not.
Clyde goes out meetings with all kinds of stuff. That doesn't bother me.
Right.
But I have had women on a couple of occasions give me intentions that they basically wanted my man.
What?
I wish.
Oh yes. You see what I'm saying, sister?
I wish they would.
And I said, I love Jesus, and I told her, but I will tear out all your hair and scratch your face. I will fight you. I love Jesus. Don't get me wrong, because when you're a good Christian,
she ran one girl out of town. So
the girl definitely she left LA when I got through with her.
Oh well.
no more problem.
Uncle Claude, you still got them women going crazy like that?
You know, some people got it, man.
Oh,
Hey, you got it. I love it.
My husband.
I love that.
But that goes both ways now.
Yeah,
and I've been doing nothing crazy because he's passionate about that too. So I got to be cool. You know, I got to be straight.
But you know, we haven't even
It's
talked over. We
Yeah,
talked on one subject.
But that's what I say. We need to make
a series out of this. Like maybe a couple weeks that we just go and hit it. Because we have so many questions that we've even asked each other.
We didn't even touch.
Yeah. And I knew like one question would be like you need an hour per question based off
You
of.
were right.
Read some of the questions so that people will know what we're gonna address later on.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Read what?
I'm not saying I condone this. I'm not saying that I do this, but because I just want to know what you guys think about this. Sexting is such a big thing in dating.
Sexing? What's sexting?
Sexting.
Oh, sexting.
Sexting.
Where you show body parts and stuff like that over.
Or just have have sex through the phone, whatever it may be. What are Yeah, that's what I was saying to them when she's like they're being particular, right? You know, like
Sexting, yeah.
sometimes you just
They want you to have.
Mom, the questions for Canton.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand.
Ramona, what are your thoughts on that for people who are dating? And because you guys went over just like, oh, he will leave me if I don't have sex, but there's just a whole other realm of just like how to keep him engaged in sexual photos. You know, maybe
Well, one, well, well, one,
yeah.
yeah. In my opinion, still that's a part of cleaving, and that should still happen in the marriage. Here's why: because if she sends me photos, one, I know, and please excuse my language, but I know niggas,
Right.
and a nigga will share your photos, baby. Like we're gonna share, like you think I'm in the room by myself, but the homies is watching. You know what I'm saying? That's the game. So like you know it is, and once it's recorded, that's what I tell my kids. Once it's recorded, it's there forever. Like it doesn't matter what you've gone on to, they're gonna always have that snapshot of you or that video of you forever. So you know you might as well wait.
And then that person is not respecting you. Like you can't honestly think that after sexting or whatever that this person is going to respect you and or look at you as a wife or look at you or uphold you as this queen in his life, or you know it doesn't work like that.
I think there's so many things in our society that really just sexualizes so many things. So even from your female friends, it can be encouraged and
it's like your girlfriend or something saying, "Well, I do that, girl. You
or girl, send them this or you know, it's really.
Oh wow!
So
You gotta look at where that girl is coming from, her relationship, what was her dad like, her mom like. So a lot of people are telling you certain things from a place of hurt, you know, to try to say, look, give them this, show them this picture so you can probably get something else from it, you know, without going all the way. It's all about, you know, trying to avoid the overall commitment. You know what I'm saying? Because once you're married, you can send pictures and do whatever. It's free game. It's fair game. But nobody wants to go all the way. It's the trust in God and His system. Lord, I trust you this way, but they hurt me. So now I'm coming from a place of hurt, and I'm going to judge the rest of my life based off of how I've been hurt instead of trusting God. That's the whole thing about trusting God, because certain times you've been hurt, you've been disappointed, you had expectations that weren't fulfilled, and now I am governing my life based off of my experience from the past instead of the possibilities of the future. And so, you know, that's a thing that's why it's dangerous just not to trust God. You just have to trust God and say, man, I don't know what you're gonna do with my pictures. I don't know what you're gonna do with my you know, who you're gonna show. I don't know if you're even serious about me, and I've done all of this, and then you might be doing the same thing with somebody else in an hour later.
Right.
So it's all the cleaving process. Once he's gone through the process to say, I want you forever, then you can show him everything.
Yeah, give him something to look
to.
forward
Because now, as a father, as a dad, you're my child. You've shown this guy all your goodies, and it's all over the internet. And now I gotta try to go defend your honor. Right. Now Daddy gotta go out there and get his butt whooped by some gang members. No, I done made the story enough moving now. Yes. Uncle Claude out there swinging his sword. You know what I'm saying? Trying to defend you.
Carry me back in the street.
Can I just ask a question? We're not gonna.
We don't have.
We're way past time.
So she's like, let me ask my question since we already.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to get back. We way past the time, so we're gonna stop in 1 second. But I just have a question. Do people just say, "Hey, baby, send me"? How do you elicit? What do people say?
Well, that's before our time. We didn't even do that.
Auntie, it's way easier right now, because right now, you know, they got
Slide
ways.
into
They got
DMs
ways
and all
that
that.
you can send money to girls for showing stuff. You know, it's
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
it's just
OnlyFans.
strip club
Yeah.
has gone to so many other options and
To
stuff
another
like that.
level.
So yeah,
Instagram.
you can't you can't. Nah, it's just so most of the times everybody has motives. You know, you're
Right.
showing for motives so that you can get. You know, some
Just
dude,
it,
some girls will
yeah,
set will show the guy whatever, say meet me somewhere, and that joker
hmm
he get robbed.
Right.
You know what
that's
I'm
how it
saying?
works.
So
Yeah,
it's grimy out here. Thank God I've been married for 20 years.
yeah.
It's grimy out here.
Right.
And
well,
Spectrum
well,
is
next time
yeah.
I want to talk though more about the dating scene and the reality that a lot of people they maybe are living together right now, or they have children. They want to be with a good man. Maybe didn't work out the first time, and just talk about some of those things because we're getting a little past the
Right.
time. We
Did
just need to
you want
close.
me to
My
read some
dad
of these
still wants to
questions?
read his question.
I thought we were gonna read some questions.
Go ahead and read the question. Oh yeah, read all the questions. This is what we're gonna look at later on, guys. We're gonna.
So this is one question is how do you stay married? Another one, what about ball buster women in marriage?
Women that bust your balls.
He said,
Yeah, they bust your okay. What in the case of ball busting women, what about men who don't want to work or have delusion of grandeur or can't work unless they are a boss? Why do black women marry and divorce at a higher rate than other minority groups?
Wow.
They marry at a lower rate, divorce at a higher rate.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't love cover a multitude of sins in my marriage?
Why doesn't
Why doesn't it? What if my partner can't have sex? Do I have to be celibate? Can I get a hall pass? Is having a baby a surrogate okay in a Christian marriage? How to get rid of the humdrum of marital life? And then when the
you
last
didn't get
one,
to the question.
We had all these tonight. Wow.
No, we can't do it. So we're gonna have to do we're gonna have to start a series. Would you guys like to see that? And do you have any questions in there? Those of you who have joined, we want to thank you for the conversation.
do you make
Yeah.
comments?
Yeah, in the comments, so we can know people are laughing.
Lovey's on there.
My daughter's on here.
Yep.
Hey, Lovey.
I love you.
you.
Yes.
Well,
So look, we really enjoyed this. I mean, that was.
Man, let us know that time just flew by. So please let us
I
know when we can start this series. I think we can help a lot of people and try to share some stuff from a real perspective. You know, so whenever whatever you need.
Together because we're having people listening, and so that's good. I mean, we've had at least 300 people at a time, so that's really good.
Well, this is good timing, so I can get to my football about to start. So this is perfect. We can work with
Yeah, she's a football commissioner for our football team. What is the thing called? Fantasy football. She's the commissioner. She won. Well, how's she gonna be the commissioner and win the championship?
I'm good.
She cheated last year, bro. She worked. So
we're gonna get back. We want to thank everybody for the talk on sex and marriage.
Yeah, she's good.
I'm good.
Or whatever, and ask us your questions to Canton, Ramona, Claude, Shami, or myself. Yeah. And we'd like to hear what you have to say. I'm kind of liking this idea where we might be in a panel and people can actually come on and ask some questions.
All right.
That's going to be fun.
Let us do it.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much, and we'll see you again.
Love y'all.
Hello, what's
Thank
up?
you so much for watching Carfitable
Yes,
Talks.
thank you.
Please remember to press that like button, and we need you to subscribe. And also,
Leave some comments. Really need to hear from you.
thank you.